Hey everyone! I hope you all had a great week. I'm here in Shayla at the moment, where we spent the last few days. So on Saturday, we got to go visit an orphanage, which is the first one that I've been able to see since I've been here. And there wasn't a ton of kids that were there, but all of them just kind of stole my heart. We played soccer for a while with the guys and just sat and chatted with some of the girls. Then the group went to go visit the shelter for the women who are escaping domestic violence. This was also really interesting for me, just being able to see and get to know some of these women and their children who have found this refuge in Shayla, and I know it will be something that sticks with me for a while. On Sunday, our group went to the hot springs that are just outside of Shayla, and the cool thing about this is that the water actually was hot. This last week in my class, one of the things I've been learning about is the history of Guatemala, especially when it concerns the location of the capitals of Guatemala. This small little country, over the course of the time since colonialization, has actually had their capital in 4 different cities, 4 different locations. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those 4 different locations and why the cities were moved from them. Before the conquistadors came to Guatemala, there was 2 main groups of indigenous people, the Quiches and the Cachiqueles. On April 12th of 1524, Pedro de Alverado and his group of conquistador soldiers came to Guatemala. Because of the conflict between the 2 different groups of Mayan indigenous people, Pedro de Alverado aligned himself with the Cachiqueles and they fought against the ruling tribe of the Quiches. When they won, Pedro de Alverado helped the Cachiqueles establish their capital in the city of Iximche. Now, Iximche was already a Mayan city, but when Pedro de Alverado made it the capital of what is now Guatemala, they renamed it Santiago de los Caballeros, which was the same name that traveled with the city for many years as it changed the different locations. Now, Pedro de Alverado is actually a pretty awful guy. His brother, Jorge de Alverado, was the new leader after Pedro left, and he was just as cruel as his brother. On February 7th of 1526, less than 2 years after it had actually been established as the capital, Jorge de Alverado had Iximche burned to the ground, and he moved the capital to the valley of Almolonga. The capital, which was still called Santiago de los Caballeros, was put in the city of what we call today Ciudad Vieja, Old City. This was founded on the 22nd of November in 1527, so about a year and a half after Iximche was burned to the ground. About 14 years later, this valley was completely flooded and destroyed by the crater of the Volcán de Agua, so it was time to find a new home for the capital. This time the capital was moved to what is now Antigua, where I've been staying for this past semester. Antigua is in the valley of Panchoy, and the capital here, still called Santiago de las Caballeras, was established in the 10th of March in 1543. And if you remember, back in March, we had a celebration of the birthday of Antigua, which I showed you guys a few pictures of. This birthday on March 10th is still celebrated every year. In 1773, a few hundred years after its establishment in Antigua, there was a huge earthquake that shook Antigua and pretty much destroyed the capital. They moved the capital to what is now Guatemala City and just changed the name to the city of Guatemala. Until recently, the longest place the capital has ever been was in Antigua. As of right now, it's been in Guatemala City longer than anywhere else. We'll be headed there in a couple weeks, and I'm sure I will share some more with you about the city itself. So the word for this week is the word chilero, Chilero. And this word is just kind of used in conversation. It kind of means something along the lines of cool or awesome. So you would hear someone say, "Ay, qué chilero, how awesome," or "Ooh, that's chilero." So it's just another awesome word, chilero word, to be able to say. It's just a great word that Guatemalans use in everyday conversation and slang, and basically the same context that we would use something like that. As it gets closer and closer for time for me to come home, I feel like I have a really mixed set of emotions. There are some people at home that I really miss, some things at home I really miss, and I'm excited to go back. But at the same time, when I leave, there's people and things, the places that I'm really going to miss here in Guatemala. And I know that honestly, I probably will never see them again, which makes saying goodbye very hard. Anyway, so that's it for this week. This next weekend, our group is going to be going up to Volta Grande and working on some projects that are there. This is the village that's just on the edge of Antigua that I've been working with Yvonne in some of the projects that are there. But for most of our group from the university, this is the first time they'll see Volta Grande. So I'm excited to go there and work on the projects and get to know the people there a little bit better. Until then, you guys have a great week. I'll talk to you later.